So when we're thinking about the question of gender and sexuality, there's always two tracks, so to speak, in this question. The first is what you probably see on the news, and that's the sociopolitical track. That's things like elementary school education curriculum, different advocacy groups, drag queen story hour, the things that kind of shock us. They're there and they're real, but they're not all that there is to it. The second track is the personal, and that is the young woman, the young man in your church that is deeply struggling with a sense of gender dysphoria. Typically, this intense feeling that your body does not match your inner sense of self. And we're finding that that message is coming from a variety of different sources. A lot of it is social media driven. Different Instagram or YouTube influencers that teenagers find, and they confuse just normal teenage angst. I mean, who felt great about being a teen, and sort of directing that to saying that there's something deeply broken in you and deeply wrong. Couple that with a culture of secularism that looks at our human bodies as the product of evolution. So therefore, there's no design, there's no ultimate purpose. And if there's no design, no ultimate purpose, and you are the measure of reality, well, then your inner feelings become the truth. And not only the truth, but the truth that every aspect of society should adapt to, should conform to. So a lot of what we're seeing, especially among teenagers, is the product of a lot of different cultural messages that they have ingested, imbibed, and they are taking on as their worldview. One of the ways that the Christian worldview answers this is by giving a comprehensive view, not only of humanity, but specifically of the body. We see all the way back in Genesis that man was created male and female. There's a male body and a female body, and there's a man and a woman. In fact, when you look at Genesis 1 and 2, you see that not only is sex binary, either or, but so is gender, that the two were created to line up. The body and the gender were never created in God's intent to be divided. They're distinct aspects of who we are, but not divisible ones. Another aspect that the Christian view gives us is that the Lord Jesus came in bodily form. He was resurrected bodily. He is going to physically return. We will have physically resurrected bodies. So we are not disconnected from our physical selves. Far from it. Our physical selves, in the words of Mark Cortez, are describing something about God, some created aspect of us that reflects who the Lord Jesus is. And so where we get really tripped up in our cultural conversations in the church today is by having these conversations about sex and gender essentially on the world's terms or with the world's terms. Instead of beginning with who you feel like you are, to talk about who you are in light of who your Creator made you to be, because your body, your gender, your sexuality were all bestowed gifts. They're all given to reflect the reality of God. And so when we are talking about sex and gender in the church, we are talking about the core questions of what it means to be human and what it means to be a fulfilled, whole human being.